Welcome to our session. Today's session we are going to discussing about the in software engineering requirements model recording. Already we will learn about the kinds of processes in software engineering and process models. And in process models recording, we will learn about the waterfall model, and elaboratedly we are going to discussing about the incremental process models, evolutionary process models, concurrent models, and unified process, and how the process models will be related to the personal and team point of view. And along with that, we should discuss about the kinds of process models. And today's session we are going to start about the agile developments in software engineering and how we are going to understand the requirements. Remember, whether we are going to discussing about the agile agile development. Before going to depth of the agile development, first of all we should learn about the what is agile, or which one we can call it as a agility. Agility means it is a rapid and adaptive, means where there is an effective response, which response has been established for changing the behavior. And agility means providing the effective communication among all stakeholders presenting on that particular process model. And in agile development, we should learn about the how we are going to organizing a team and how we are going to controlling the entire work which is performed by the employees on the team. And what about the rapid environment, and what about the incremental delivery approaches of the software. In basic introduction point of view, whether we are going to discussing about the agile software engineering, the nature of the agile software engineering, it combines the, we can call it as a philosophy, or it is a set of development guidelines. In agile software engineering, importantly we should discuss about the kinds of framework activities. Now, whether we are going to discussing about the activities in agile framework means, it will be starts from the communication which is held especially for the customers. We can call it as a customer communication, and planning and modeling, construction, delivery, and evaluation. These are all the different kinds of list of activities which is effectively involved in the agile framework. Agile framework. Now, exactly what is an agile process? Remember, the perfect or straight meaning of the agile is a shift or versatile. One thing here we should remember, whether the discussion starts from the agile developments, Importantly, we should discuss about the agile process model. Now, what this agile process model can be refers? Simply, we can say agile process model refers to a software development approach. Now, what kind of software development approach is referring by the APM, which we can call it as a agile process model, is completely based on the iterative development. Iterative development. Now, whether few of the methods has been plays important role in the agile process model. Here, one thing we should remember, in agile methods, we are going to break the tasks into a smaller iterations or smaller parts. These kind of iterations or parts do not having the capability, they can't directly involve any kind of long-term planning. Long-term planning. Here, how we are going to deriving the planning means, here plans regarding the number of iterations. Number of iterations. Here, the duration and the scope of each iteration are clearly defined in advanced manner. One thing here we should remember, every iteration in the agile method, simply you can say every iteration we are going to considering as a short time because of performing the iteration process. This each iteration we are going to considering in agile method as a short time. That short time we can call it as a frame. Are you getting? Now, whenever we are going to devise a division of the entire projects into smaller parts, these parts especially helps for minimizing the project risk and also reducing the overall project delivery time requirements. Overall project delivery time requirements. Now, here one thing we should remember, how the agility will be affected, or agility and the cost of change in agile development. Here one thing we should remember, always how cost of change in agility means, agility and the cost of change means, how this environment has been established means, the conventional wisdom in software development, remember the conventional wisdom in software development, which refers to the cost of change. The cost of change increases non-linearly as a project progress in the form of figure. You can look at that particular slide. In that slide, there is a below of that slide, there is a figure representation will be there. Among that representation, there is a x-axis and y-axis will be there. In x-axis, we are electing the how we are going to scheduling the progress as a development manner, and what about the cost, means development cost, it will be presenting in the y-axis. Here one thing we should remember, always the cost can escalates quickest manner, means quickly, and the time and cost requires to ensure that the change is made without unintended side effects. These side effects has been non-trivial. Non-trivial. We're getting. Next, here this is important thing. What are the phases has been presenting in the agile model? There is a different phases in agile model which we should follow. Means how we are going to gathering the requirements, it is one phase. How we are going to designing the requirements, second phase. And what about the construction and iteration, we should discuss in the third phase. Fourth one is testing or quality assurance, and deployment feedback. Deployment feedback. Look at those two figures. Those two figures especially representing the agile models. Agile models. Agile models. Now, coming to the important concept in agile developments, another one is extreme programming. Remember, whether we are going to discussing about the extreme programming, this type of programming is commonly used in agile process model. Especially, it uses the concept of object-oriented programming. Here, always the developer focuses on the kinds of framework activities like planning, design, coding, and testing. Entire extreme programming, simply we can call it as a XP, has a set of rules, and it will be consisting few of the practices. We should remember the popular or mostly widely used agile process. Originally, it was proposed by Kent Beck. Kent Beck. Now, in entire extreme programming, we are having 4 different kinds of framework activities. Those activities, one is planning, design, coding, and testing. Now, look at that picture. That picture representing the extreme programming. How the different kinds of framework activities will be formed. There is a planning, there is a design, there is a coding, there is a test. After completion of these 4 successful steps, next the product has been released. Yes, that is a graphical representation of the extreme programming. Means, now coming to the first activity in the extreme programming framework activity, that is planning. Now, planning, there is a representation of XP planning. XP means already extreme programming. Now, specifically, this particular activity begins with the creation of user stories when it was in the listening mode. Here, after completion that listening, that customer assigns a value and cost to the story, and stories. These all things can be grouped for a deliverable increment. Always here, the commitment is made on the delivery date. whenever the first increment defined the subsequent delivery dates performs for the other increments. Next, coming to the XP design. Always the XP design follows the keep it simple means principle. Means in design phase on the extreme programming framework activity, it is a second framework activity in XP, extreme programming framework. Here a simple design always prefers the more difficult representation. For difficult design problems, suggest the creation of, especially for spike solutions, and this particular framework activity encourages the refactoring. Means here the iterative refinement of the internal program design. Next, another framework activity in the extreme programming, after successfully finishing of the planning activity, design activity, now we are in the coding activity. Here always the developer is focused on what exactly or what must be implemented. Now in this situation, after the initial design work is done, the team creates a set of unit tests which can test each story or part. This activity also encourages the pair programming, means where two people work together, especially for a programming lead. Now, that is about the extreme programming coding activity. Now, extreme programming testing. Here, all unit tests are executed daily, means whenever the code is modified. One thing we should remember, acceptance tests are especially defined by the customer and executed to assess customer visible functionalities. Okay, these are all the important phases, framework activities in extreme programming. That is, already we learned about the extreme programming regarding planning, XP design, and extreme programming regarding coding, and extreme programming regarding testing. Now, coming to the any other kind of agile process models, means here we should learn about the, already we will learn about the extreme programming. There is a concept called another process model, that is ASD, adaptive software development, and another one is a dynamic system development method, and Scrum, another process model. Another one is a crystal, another one is a feature driven development, another one is a agile modeling. Next, coming to the adaptive software development. Here it is one of the other agile process model. Here always we are going to discussing about the few characteristics of the adaptive software development regarding. Here always what we are going to discussing about the adaptive software development means the self organization always having the capability, it can arises when the independent agents should be cooperate for creating a solution to a problem. Solution to a problem. Now always that is beyond the capability of any individual agent. Capability of any individual agent. Next, coming to the characteristics of the adaptive cycle. One, mission driven planning. And what about the focuses regarding to the components and how we are going to using the time boxing. What about the explicit consideration of risks? How we are going to emphasize the collaboration for requirements gathering and emphasizes the learning. Emphasizes the learning. Now, this is the graphical representation of the adaptive software development. Here in adaptive software development, importantly we are going to discussing about the speculation, collaboration and learning. Now coming to this is a pictorial representation of the ASD, adaptive software development. Now what is speculation? It is a primary activity in the adaptive software development framework. In this particular activity project has been initiated. An entire adaptive cycle planning is conducted from this initiation stage onwards. Adaptive cycle planning uses the initiation of the project and information. And the second one is collaboration. Collaboration is a recurring theme irrespective of all agile methods. These methods motivated especially for where the people can work together for more talent and creative output. Remember, it's a matter of trust. People where to work together must trust one another. And another one is learning. Now learning means here in this particular phase, it is learning is a third phase of the ASD, adaptive software development life cycle. After discussion of the speculation and collaboration, now we are in the third phase in the life cycle of the adaptive software development. You can call it as a learning. Here always this particular phase in the ASD life cycle, learning will help to improve level, especially for a real understanding adaptive software development teams. These teams can learn in three ways, which focus groups especially for the formal technical reviews. Formal technical reviews. That is about the adaptive software development. Next, coming to the another agile process model. After successfully completion of the adaptive software development, next we are going to discussing about the dynamic software development method. This is the rapid application development approach where this approach has been involved when the active users involvement and the teams are empowered to make the decisions with the goal of frequent product delivery. Frequent product delivery. And another one is means the goal of the DSDM, dynamic software development method, is we are going to empowering the teams especially for making the decisions. Next one is Scrum. It is also one of the another agile process model. Here Scrum is an agile development process which is focused primarily on different ways to managing the tasks, especially for the team-based development conditions. Team-based development conditions. What are those roles? Means importantly in Scrum, we should discuss about the three important roles and their responsibilities. What are those roles means? One is master. We can call it as a Scrum master. And another one is a product owner. And another one is a Scrum team. Now what is the responsibility of the first role, which we can call it as a Scrum master, means always the Scrum having the capability, they can set up the master team and it can arrange the meeting and it removes the obstacles for the process. The second one is product owner. Always the product owner makes the product backlog and it should prioritize especially for the delay and is responsibility for the distribution of functionality, where the distribution of functionality has been presenting in the each repetition. Next, coming to the third role under the Scrum, that is Scrum team. Now what is the responsibility of the Scrum team means? This team manages its work and organizing the work for completing the sprint. A sprint means simply we can call it as a cycle. Yes, that is about the Scrum. Importantly, we should discuss about the adaptive software development and dynamic software development method, and another one is the Scrum. These are all the other agile process models. Along with this, we should discuss about the one example of the Scrum. Whether we are going to considering as any one of the game. Here we are going to discussing about the rugby football. Means here one thing we should remember, we are going to discussing about the Scrum process model. Means here the nature of the Scrum means a Scrum is a way to restart the game after an interruption. Means where the forwards of each sides, they will come together in a tight formation and struggle especially for gaining the position for the ball. When this situation can occurs means when it is tossed in among them. Simply you can say Scrum is an agile. Means how we are going to describing the Scrum means It is a lightweight process for managing and controlling the softwares and also controlling the product developments in rapidly changing environments. Rapidly changing environments. Whether we should discuss about the kinds of framework activities means here also we should discuss about the requirements, analysis, design, evaluation, means simply you can call it as a evaluation, and delivery. One thing we should remember, how we are going to describing the sprint. Within every framework activity, where the work means tasks occur within a process, where the tasks can occur within a process, such kind of pattern called a sprint. It is one of the important definition. Here we are going to giving the easy remembrance point of view. How we are going to defining this sprint means, we can consider within every framework activity, means each framework activity work means tasks occur within a process pattern, within a process pattern called a sprint, called a sprint. Are you understanding? Now in today's session we should discuss about the importantly in agile development regarding what is agile, what is the importance of agile software engineering, and the overview of the agile. Here we should discuss about the introduction of the agile, means agility, and we should along with that we should discuss about the agile process and agile and how the cost of change will be occurs, what are the phases of the agile model and the architectural representation of the agile model. And in agile programming I should discuss about the extreme programming. In extreme programming we should discuss about the framework of the extreme programming. In framework, what are the framework activities? Means it will be starts from the planning and ending with the test. And coming to the other agile process models recording, we should discuss about the, we will learn about the AST, adaptive software development, and graphical representation of the AST, and dynamic software development method, and Scrum. And Scrum we will learn about the example of the Scrum also we will discuss, and finally we will learn how we are going to representing the sprint. Now thank you for interesting for today's session. By tomorrow session we will come with new topic in software engineering. Thank you.